Welcome to Muscogee County School District, where learning, innovation, and global opportunity come together. A community committed to excellence, diversity, and preparing every student for a limitless future. The heart of Muscogee County School District is our people. The educators who inspire, the families who believe, the students who achieve, and the community that supports us. Together, we've created opportunities since 1950, shaping not only students, but the future of Columbus, Georgia. Our mission is to inspire and equip all students to achieve unlimited potential. Our vision is to be a beacon of educational excellence where all are known, valued, and inspired. With approximately 29,000 students, 5,500 dedicated professionals, and 56 schools and programs, we serve a richly diverse community, shaping the next generation of leaders, innovators, creators, and problem solvers. From state-of-the-art classrooms and digital learning to award-winning arts and championship athletics, our students excel in every domain. Few communities can say their school district stretches beyond classrooms. In Muscogee County, education means more than schools. It means culture. The Chattahoochee Valley Library System and the Columbus Museum are a part of the Muscogee County School District, making learning not just a lesson in a book, but a living experience in art, history, and discovery. Today, under the leadership of the Muscogee County Board of Education and Superintendent Dr. David Lewis, Muscogee County students are reaching all-time highs in achievement, graduation rates, SAT, ACT, and advanced placement performance. With innovation, equity, and excellence as our guide, we remain committed to equipping every child with the tools to succeed in a changing, diverse world. We deeply value cultural exchange and global partnerships, building bridges that connect Muscogee County with the world. Muscogee County School District, inspiring minds, building futures, and creating we.
The Muscogee County School District is celebrating a remarkable achievement, a 96.1% graduation rate. This milestone reflects the hard work and perseverance of our students, the unwavering support of their families, and the dedication of our educators and staff. Together, we are building brighter futures for all of our students.
Good afternoon. Welcome to our October 13th, 2025 regularly scheduled board work session. I do want to welcome you all here. It's a full house. And we'll just wave at each other since we can. Hi, everybody. Thank y'all for being here on your job. We do not have anything on our public agenda, but I would like to take this opportunity to read our background and rationale on it. The Muscogee County Board of Education work session are held on the second Monday evening of each month. And that is, not where I'm supposed to be. All official meetings of the board shall be open to the press and the public. However, the board may meet in executive sessions. Speakers' remarks should be directed to the board and shall be limited to 5 minutes each speaker. Citizens are encouraged to address items on the board agenda or to initiate presentations of issues appropriate for school board consideration. If an individual desires to speak, they may contact the superintendent's office to be placed on the agenda. The board meeting or the work session is not the appropriate place to address either criticisms of particular employees or individual parent complaints when such complaints have not been first addressed to the attention of the appropriate administrator for a resolution. Citizens are encouraged to follow the normal channels to address individual parent complaints or problems. Following none listed for our work session, and then we'll have our board meeting follows in the following week, typically, and we'll see if we have any citizens that we need to hear from. Dr. Lewis? Did I not?
Yes, Madam Chair. A couple of changes for the agenda. We were notified this afternoon that there is a contested bid for item number 6 under your maintenance services, school nutrition. That's under competitively bid purchases. So that's going to go under further review. So we're taking that off until that's been completed. And also we have a student discipline hearing that was scheduled for today, has been postponed. All right.
Thank you. And just remind me when we get to that item.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, we'll go into our committee reports. All right, Ms. Buckner.
First item on the agenda is the assessment data. Yes. She's gonna be a while.
Okay, there we go. All right. Good evening, board members. It's nice to see you in person this time. It's been a couple months, so to reintroduce myself, I am Emily Schultes-Starkeybaum, and I am now here in my official capacity as the Senior Director of Research Assessment and Accountability. It's nice to not have a video between us this time, but I am here this evening to give you guys some fall data updates because we have some hot off the press data from the state.
I said, what's my username?
Okay, we're getting up. I appreciate it. And honestly, I was listening to the new updated video. We didn't waste any time getting that 96.1 up in there, so I know you guys at least heard that one, but I have a couple others to share with you, but we'll start with the big one from our video, our graduation rate for this year. So you heard that 96.1% of our seniors last year graduated within 4 years. Not only was that a 2% increase, but we have slightly widened our lead on the state. State was about 87% this year. So our schools continue to do a pretty fantastic job with that metric. To contextualize that number a little bit more, besides just looking at us in relative to the state, nationally, we were also looking about an 87% graduation rate for the 2025 cohort. And in general, the gold standard or the benchmark for success is considered to be about 90% nationally. So by all metrics, Muscogee County is excelling with our graduates for this past year. Other data that's come out recently includes our graduating cohort's SAT scores. So for 2025's cohort, the district outperformed both the state and national averages for all 3 possible categories of SAT scores. So that's evidence-based reading and writing, the math score, and then the composite score, which combines those two and is out of that 1,600 or 2,400 that we're accustomed to seeing. The performance for evidence-based reading and writing was particularly strong relative to state and national benchmarks for those scores. And composite scores continue to be pretty strong, though the gap does close a little bit when we combine those numbers. So we are sitting at about a 1081 for our last cohort's graduating cohort's SAT scores, which represents about a 19-point increase over last year's cohort. I believe this is something you guys have heard before from my predecessor, Mr. Knopf, but I do want to caveat that number a little bit because each year we have a new batch of kids coming in, starting at a new point, and so those numbers are going to ebb and flow naturally through no fault of anyone, just because it's a different group of kiddos, but still worth being excited to see how we're doing relative to our peers statewide and nationally. And then the newest data point we got from the end of last week is data on our AP scores. So last year we had over 3,400 AP exams taken by Muscogee County students, and that represents, I think, about 1,100 individual students across the district. And that represents a 12% increase in the number of exams taken since just last year, which is a pretty exciting jump. Additionally, we're seeing the students who take those tests experience an increased degree of success in passing and earning credit for collegiate level courses. And that improved by about 5% from one year to the next. There we go, 1615 unique AP students. When we compare those performances to those of our peers at both a state and national level, we're seeing that our pass rate for AP exams is on par with national trend, but is slightly lower than what we're seeing across the state of Georgia. We don't have detailed data for statewide AP performance just yet. We only have the summary statistics, so that's 74%. But there are some thoughtful questions we're gonna ask as we get more insight into that data. Things like, what proportion of students are taking AP relative to the proportion of our students? Because it could be we're sampling different populations. Are students across Georgia taking similar AP tests to what we're giving our students, or are they taking a different set of exams? Things like that would help us have a more complete narrative around why there's data discrepancy. But the 3% difference isn't alarming and doesn't any cause for concern. I think it's just, there's a little more data that we just don't have access to yet. So as we uncover that and discover more to that narrative, we're happy to bring those numbers back or bring that story back to you guys should you like to know a little more. But I did want to bring a couple of fun highlights that I found when I was mining this data last week. Our 10th grade students are actually our fastest growing group of AP test takers. They increased 4.5% in just a single school year. So we're seeing really strong AP performance, and we're seeing it grow in our earliest group of AP testers, which I thought was really exciting to see. Last year, we had students take 28 different AP exams. The ones I have listed on the slides in front of you represent the most popular exams we have, so good representation of history and science, as well as some English language. Each of those tests had over 200 students complete it for the last school year, which is pretty impressive. And then last, since a lot of this data is focusing on our seniors, want to give them one last acknowledgement, and that is that 23% of our graduating seniors last year graduated with a 3 or higher on at least one AP class, which means they're all heading off to college or career or enlistment with some kind of credit to their name, which is an impressive achievement and one we wanted to make sure to acknowledge. Oh, I skipped over my last slide. I will pause there. I know this will be one of many, many data presentations I have the privilege to come do for you guys, but did want to allow a little room for questions or follow-ups I could provide.
All right, Dr. Chambers.
Hi, thank you so much for the information on the test scores. I have a question about the SATs.
Okay.
Do we know exactly how many students are represented in these numbers?
So I can share those numbers with you. I didn't have them in the slide, but I absolutely have that data, and I'm happy to either show it to you at the
Yes.
conclusion of this evening, or we can get it to you guys in a message.
Yes, that would help to see how
Absolutely.
many students we're talking about with this particular cohort
Yep.
of SAT scores.
Not a
And
problem.
the AP scores, I'm happy that we're going in the right direction, so that looks good. All right, thank you so much.
Of course.
All right, I think that's it. Thank you so
All right.
very much. Ms. Sly, discipline?
There are no items submitted for the discipline committee.
Thank you so very much. Ms. Tillery? Policy committee?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item 1 for the Policy Committee is going to be our legislative priorities for 2026. And we do have a slideshow. Is someone going to present that, or we?
No.
No, okay, that was just for us, just making sure. Do you want me to read every legislative priority? Okay.
Yes, please.
Priority 1, fund school social workers to address chronic absenteeism at a ratio of one social worker per 1,856 students, and expand mental health support grants to elementary schools.
Okay.
Are there any questions? Priority 2, strengthen the education workforce by A, passing HB 372 to sustain and broaden the impact of return to work. B, revise the end date of the teacher tax credit to end December 31st, 2030 to incorporate special education, math, reading, writing, and English language arts in the definition of high-need subject areas, and allow school districts to determine the high-need subject areas. And C, restore and update service concealable loan programs that state previously operated for teacher candidates and provide need-based stipends for student teachers. Priority 3.
Do you have a question on?
Oh, do we have a question? Okay.
Wait until
No,
you
go ahead.
finish. Okay. I just have a request on priority 2, and I know we can look this up, but just for simplicity's sake, can we get a copy of House Bill 372 sent to us? So we know in totality what all it includes? I haven't read over it. Okay, thanks so much.
It's like a summary, yeah.
It's like a summary, but yeah. We'll send you the bill.
Priority 3, renew the partnership between local districts and the state for health care for non-certified staff by funding 25% of SHBP costs for non-certified staff for all districts. Priority 4, review and revise the state's QBE funding formula to align with current student and programming needs to include a provision that considers a poverty index. Priority 5, it is requested that the definition of acceptable expenditures funded by the Education Special Purpose Local Option Sales Tax, the eSPLOST, be expanded to include the purchase of devices, related technology and equipment to include artificial intelligence-enabled technology for school safety and security measures. Priority 6, in the interest of full transparency, require that the appropriate state office provides school districts with an accurate and current accounting of all sales tax receipts collected within the respective district. To achieve this, a point-of-sale system should be implemented that allows for reporting by category back to the taxing authority. Priority 7, advocate for E-rate connectivity beyond schools.
I do, on priority 4, I think some consideration needs to be given to the QBA funding being updated to also not just poverty, but for mental health or something, yeah, special needs, our exceptional students. Because what I'm hearing now from the elementary schools are the children who are showing up, who aren't prepared, have not either had an assessment or an examination, or they have, and because we don't have an IEP, we can't service them. You know, it's like what comes first, the chicken or the egg? And for the students who are showing up with basic skills like potty training, the QBE funding needs, I think we need to add the additional language for not just poverty. I don't know what that language is, but I'm just.
Not even yet.
Yeah.
And I know this priority has been on our list for a long time. How much attention does it actually get? Do they really pay attention to this priority? I mean, I know every school district would like for them to change it, so I just didn't know if it.
Well, I can't speak to what happens in committees.
Right,
but
right.
But I can tell you that it is a hot topic with all school districts in terms of revising, keeping in mind that the current QBE formula dates back to like the early 80s, like 1982.
1980s, yeah.
A lot of things have changed, obviously, since then, and there are different costs that are associated with that. So it is very much one that was brought up. It's also supported by GSBA, GSSA. For our audience, GSBA is Georgia School Board Association, GSSA is Georgia School Superintendent Association. So it is one that gets a lot of traction within the various component groups. And I do know that there are people who are looking at this very carefully, but of course, it's always a price tag to it too. So that's one of the things we have to look at, along with the rising healthcare costs and other big ticket items. And keeping in mind, education is one of the three big buckets, with the others being corrections and healthcare, that are all vying for the same finite pot of dollars. So I know everyone's interests are great and needs are great, but it is a topic of debate and concern.
And I think in the meantime, as we continue to ask for that, we do need to formulate some kind of language to impress upon our local delegation, because these incidences are not isolated. They're district-wide, and we need to impress upon them the impact that it's having when schools aren't able to service the needs of these students. And it's the parents whose students who don't have an exceptionality are complaining. They want us to do something about it. And rightfully so. And so we need to impress upon our delegation to find some consideration if the QBE, if addressing improving the QBE formula is not successful again this legislative session, something needs to be done.
I was just going to ask.
Oh, okay, hold on.
I know this is going to be a big part of budget discussions too. It's just more information on priority 3 about the health insurance. Just be sent to me, the breakdown of what, what we pay per employee, what the employee pays, what's the offerings kind of within. I haven't looked at any of that in a long time, so what that is, because I'm curious to compare that to corporate other world.
Okay. Ms. Butler?
Yeah, I was just going to ask, and I'm just asking for information on that priority 4, when it talks about.
Say that again.
Priority 4, when it was talking about. For just information from me for on priority 4, where the QBE was to be aligned with programming needs to include a provision that considers a poverty index. Now, at one time, I think it was called Equals, didn't at one time QBE addressed it in some way because there was a problem with small and rural districts, small school districts and rural school districts always complaining, especially now, we all general, everybody complaining, but they especially complain, So didn't we have something called like equalizer or equal something?
I think you're referring to equalization, which is separate from QBE. And yes, it still exists, and we've been the beneficiary of that. And it's not so much about rural as much as it is property values from district to district.
Also, it may have advanced in another way, but I thought it started out with rural districts and small districts complaining that it was totally unfair. But that was, like you said, that was QBE though. Okay.
I can't speak to what was the original intent. That was BD before Dave, so I don't know. But,
All right, sorry about that.
but I can tell you, as of late, it's all been
All right.
based on the property values with districts and stuff.
Thanks.
Any other questions? If not, we will move to the second revised policy, GBM, professional transfers. Would you like for me to read the proposed changes? Okay. The proposed changes are under number 3, employee requested transfers. And it's the second paragraph. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I said, I'm glad you pointed that out because I was having trouble seeing it.
Oh, yeah, no, I know, yeah. For contractual personnel, the teacher transfer request process will be administered by and then it's all scratched out. And so I think that we should just start at the no transfer request part, is that right? Because everything is marked out, but from there, oh, wait, no, Division of Human Resources, sorry, now I see it. So just that one part. So for contractor personnel, the teacher transfer request process will be administered by the Division of Human Resources in the first quarter of each calendar year. Specific procedural steps will be communicated prior to each transfer request period. Then we scratch it all out. And it says, no transfer request will be acted upon later than May 1st unless with the superintendent or the superintendent's designee approval to ensure sufficient administrative academic year planning and instructional continuity for students. Sorry, I thought she said something. Final approval for transfers will be made by the superintendent or her designee. And that looks like all the changes that I see. Is that correct?
Can we get some type of rationale for the need for this change and how we're requesting for teacher transfers? Yes. Yes, ma'am. Can you explain it so that the general public knows?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Primarily, policies are supposed to be very broad and have a longer life, and there were some procedural steps in there. And from year to year, for efficiency's sake, you may change procedures. And this actually spoke to some of the specifics. So we do put the details out for the teachers and the paras prior to every single transfer request process, but it doesn't need to be in the policy. That's the only reason it was taken out.
Okay, one thing that I noticed that was taken out is that previously employees could list their top 3 choices as to where they were transferring, and that's been removed.
No, ma'am. That's why we actually have put the example. It's in the procedures. It's part of the procedures. They're supposed to pick their top 3. They have a time frame to reply. They're very specific Q&A. All of that is part of the steps that we tell them in the process every single time.
Okay, well, I think for us, it would be helpful if we saw the procedure too, so, because if we're taking information.
It's in there.
Where?
Or at least it should be. I submitted it.
Yeah, if we could get that, I think that would help all of us because
Yeah.
we want to make sure that if we're taking it out of the policy, there is still, that the teachers understand, here's the procedure that we're all agreeing upon.
Exactly.
Because transfer, that becomes a big issue for a lot of teachers sometimes, and want to make sure that they have that right to say, I want to transfer and here are my choices.
Yes, and
So.
we communicate it every single time, and we put an example. It'll look similar from year to year, but again, you streamline and minor things change. So it makes it odd to put it in here. But I'll get the example back out. Would you like me to have it posted on here, on the agenda, or send it out individually? Okay,
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, do it now.
Thank you.
I can do it right now.
Thank you. We appreciate that very much.
If there are no more questions, I will move on to item number 3, revised student policies. Prudent administration of the school system demands continual review and updating of board policies. In accordance with existing needs of the school district, the following policies need to be revised as presented. JBCD, student transfers and withdrawals, and then JR, student records. I did not see any changes on either.
The email address. Removing the email address.
Oh, okay, mine's underlined, so it's not scratched through, so that's why.
That looks like a,
See, mine's
is
just
that not a
underlined.
strike through?
So is
Is that a strike through or underline?
Mr. Knopf, you want to respond to that?
are there any changes to the board policy, JR, student records?
What is,
Is it an addition or?
Strikeout.
Okay, because for us, it's underlined.
Oh, my apologies.
No,
Okay.
you're completely fine. So I just thought it was just, okay.
That one's a minor change
On which one?
on JR.
It's the student, but they're going to add a student email address. That's the only change. And then we will go to the second policy. Please go. Yes.
So under student records, it's sort of marked out the word generally, and then a parent or eligible student will be permitted to inspect, review, and obtain a copy of the student's educational records upon reasonable notice. Is that to be still included?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
There's an underline under inspect, review, and obtain.
Okay, I'll get you guys I'll get you guys a red line copy for this.
Okay, a red line
Thank
copy
you.
would be helpful,
Yeah.
yes. Thank you so much, I appreciate
This,
it.
I can get you one for this and the other one.
Okay,
Thank you.
sounds great, thank you so much.
Old eyes don't do very well with
I know.
I
I
understand.
even have contacts.
contrast.
It jumps back and forth in Word, so it'll
it
jump
sure
between
is.
underlining and
I'm
red-
glad you
doing the
used
red
that
line.
word, jumping back and forth, because it's jumping back and forth. I'm like, is it underlined or is it marked through?
On the second document, that the transfer and withdrawals, I only saw the juvenile code. That, to me, was the only one that was, so do you want to just discuss it once we get the other one?
I'll send you the others because there's
Perfect.
a lot of additions to this one,
Okay, good, because it just, oh, yeah.
which is
Okay.
most of the underline.
This is to
Wonderful.
comport with the law, is that correct? Mr.
Yes, sir.
President? Yeah.
These are both of these are just for us to align with the law that's been passed.
Newly passed legislation regarding student records.
Okay, if there are no other questions, I will return it to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much, Ms. Tillery. Ms. Jackson, welcome back. Personnel Committee.
All right, item 1, the superintendent is recommending Brad Johnson for Director of School Nutrition. Brad Johnson is a professional with over 15 years of experience with corporate accounting and school administration. Mr. Johnson has worked with the Harris County School District for over 5 years and is currently serving as School Nutrition Director. Mr. Johnson holds a MBA from Troy University, a BBA in accounting from Georgia Southern University, and a Georgia School Nutrition Director certification from the University of Georgia. Beyond his professional achievement, he is deeply involved in community outreach. I really like that. Serving in leadership roles with youth, athletic, and recreation board in Harris County. Are there any questions?
Just as a note, he's replacing Kelly McKenzie, who took a position with Georgia Department of Education. So this is backfilling that position.
All right, and item 2 is the personnel report, and there is an attachment there. Oh, let me go back to Mr. Johnson. His resume is attached.
Okay, thank you.
The personnel report, are there any questions? Hearing none, back to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson.
Earlier, and then when I got here and tried to pull it up, I couldn't pull it up. But earlier I could, but from this computer, I couldn't pull it up.
It's not, it's because I believe
It's in an
attached
Excel.
as a Excel instead of a PDF. And so I don't think we have Excel on these laptops. And so we won't be able to pull it up or see it unless it's in a PDF form.
That's right. So we'll have it on there. You'll
Okay,
convert it.
I will send it to you right now.
Okay, perfect.
And if you download it and then go to your downloads, it will pull up.
Yeah.
Because I just did it on here.
Okay, did it? I went to my downloads. I didn't.
Just in case, I will go ahead and send it to you. You're welcome.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so, Ms. Carter, I've asked this question before, and I just cannot remember a person called me today, and I was trying to remember, I was rushing, and I didn't feel like thinking about it, and you told me before, what's an inactive, employee, again?
They are employees who have separated for whatever reason. It's a kinder, gentler way of saying that someone has left Muscogee County School District. They could have retired, they could have been.
Okay, but they're not employees.
They're no longer employees with Muscogee County School District.
Oh, okay. No, I thought, what's called, employees that, we haven't filled the positions for. Is there
Vacancies?
just plain vacancy? Okay. All right. I was trying to do some kind, okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Uh-huh.
All right, next is our property committee with Ms. Frey.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item 1 is the museum report. Just amazing that we've had over 2,200 interactions, visits, either on-site or in schools and with other programs throughout the community. And then, just like we've highlighted the integration of the museum and the arts to all of our education, the diversity of the museums showcased from the works of the Iranian American artist to the really, really, really cool works of John Miller, for lack of a better term, diners, drives, and dives at the museum. It's just the whole, runs the gamut. So really, really cool. And then the fall festival, that'll be October the 18th. So thank you for having something for everybody and appealing to everybody on the spectrum of arts and arts appreciation. Any question on the museum report? Well, library is not to be outdone and has made impacts across our community, and based on some of the reports of the folks that are being touched by even our very own South Columbus Branch Library, we're reaching those military families who will take those experiences all across the world. And then we had a young person who was applying for jobs at the Mildred Terry Library, and before they left, after getting some help, they had 2 interviews lined up. So that's really cool. We're making impacts on the little ones in the reading sessions and then helping folks get the jobs. So thank you. Any questions about the library report? That's it, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much. Construction Committee, Mr. Cantrell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. first thing on the committee, in an effort to maintain accountability and transparency with the community, a SPLOS committee of citizens not employed with the school district has been appointed by the Board of Education. This is an updated list of members for the 2025 Citizens SPLOS Committee. Here are the people, the citizens that are serving, and we sure do appreciate their volunteering. Mr. Joseph Brannon, Mr. Cecil Calhoun, Adrian Chester, Mr. Will Clark, Dr. Joe Coley, Tamara Edwards, Ricky Harrell, Lisa Jenkins, Wanda Jenkins Davis, Pauline Johnson, Benny Neuroth, okay, Betsy Rich Reed, Mr. Alton Russell, Eva Smith. Mr. Bart Steed has been on the board for the last 15 years, and he passed away last year, so taking his place on the SPLOS committee will be Miss Gloria Strode. And Olive Vital Kendall is the last one on the committee. Any questions, ladies?
When people are nominated on these, they just keep kind of rolling off until they ask to leave? Is that kind of how it works?
Whoever you all nominate, yeah.
Yeah, but I guess my question is, like, I was asked if I wanted to replace somebody. Well, I feel kind of bad pulling somebody off, but
Yep.
but that might mean I don't even know actually who is in my district, so I'm in no way saying this about a certain person because I don't even know which one of these is my district. It just feels a little bit like people get on it and stay forever, and then that makes it hard to bring in new people unless we can have as many people as we want on here, or if there's a prescribed number.
We've had 2 by board, each board member is what the practice has been in the past.
Okay, but like, again, that it's very different if I'm asked to replace versus do I want to look at, we're kind of starting from scratch with each new eSPLOS committee, and who are your 2 that you want to nominate?
We could, but we just don't.
And I guess that's why I'm asking why. Why not?
I'm following past practice.
Would the committee be too big? So you have to consider what
She's
size.
asking about replacing, like if you nominated 2 people.
Yeah, I understand.
And replacing those 2, not adding.
I don't think I nominated either people on here.
She was apprehensive about.
Not to replace somebody, that feels weird.
Yeah, she was apprehensive about replacing, so she was asking, what can we add? And my question then was, is there a desired number for the committee?
Correct.
Okay, that's what my question is.
It is 2 for each of us.
What is the
Okay,
library?
is that random, or is that because we feel that 24, I mean, is that like somebody sat down and decided that we need 24?
They
Or
probably were trying to, not have the committee so huge.
And have equal representation.
Yeah, equal representation.
Okay, now let me, so the person must come from, just like with me, and I probably need to do better, but over the years, I only appoint 1 person because over the years I've reported, y'all give us we know when they attend the meetings. And my other person never attended the meetings.
Well, so, I think to your point and to Lori's point, it may help us to know which district these individuals are in.
And I would like to know how involved they were last time. I mean, I really have no idea. And like I said, it just feels kind of odd to be, I kind of wish we would just start new. I mean, and we could know the people that have previously served, and if we feel good about that, we could go back and ask. But what it feels a little bit like is, and I could be wrong, maybe I've been on the board for 9 years, and forgive me if I've forgotten something, but I feel like the ones that are on there for my district have been on there when I came on here, and so.
I like that. I like this discussion. So what is the pleasure? Would it make sense to us to just start over each SPLOS?
That
would probably be a
but
good
that's what
idea.
We do now.
Huh?
We do that now.
And then
you ask us to appoint 2.
But we don't even know what district they're in.
Okay, you want some more clarification, but if she's asking, let us start new, that's what we presently do. We start new each time when the superintendent or the secretary asks us to appoint two people. So we start new already.
Not
So,
really.
but
'cause I
we're not
wasn't asked-
practicing it, so
Yeah.
I guess the discussion is about let's
I
practice.
wasn't really asked who I wanted to nominate. I was asked if I wanted to pull somebody off and put somebody new, which is semantics, but it's the way it felt. So my question was kind of, instead of, I would have felt, I would like to see it kind of go, okay, we're starting a new East Bluffs committee. Here are the two that have served for your district. Is this your preference to, ask them to serve again, see if they want to, or do you have somebody new in mind that you would like to?
Each year they
This goes
ask
back to
me.
last spring. The first request went out last spring, and I've not heard anything, but I did get a new member from Mr. Cantrell that he wanted to submit, and you had confirmed that you wanted Mr. Harwell.
confirm.
But that's all I'd heard, so this was a second attempt to try and get that, because we do need to move forward with our East Bluffs committee.
Now, Karen, I'll wait.
And we need to verify what districts they're in.
Okay.
Because if they have moved, right? Because Harrow, I think, is in one. So if they,
Because they redid the district?
that's what I'm saying. If they have moved,
And they haven't moved a lot, but the districts have been redone.
And I think, I'm speaking from past practice now, but in the past, what I was told by the previous superintendents and by the board members at the time, the board chair at the time, was it was people who were actively engaged in the East Bluffs campaigns, so they knew what had been discussed and so on. So that's how this came about, for clarification.
and we
So these
still
are all
need,
people who.
and I think to Lori's point, and I don't recall what the notification said that you sent out, but it would be helpful to know if they were active and what districts they're in.
All the ones who have been here have all, I can tell you, have all been active at some point during the last.
I'm saying your
process.
communication out.
Yeah.
If you would send it out to us again with.
So you want me to, so not take
Just
this
what
forward this.
what districts they're in.
For clarification, do you want me to start over, or do you want me to bring this list forward for action next week, or how do you want me to proceed?
I want, the question is if you would just resend it back out to us and identify what districts they're in. And so that we can say, I'll keep them, or, and if you're missing somebody from your district, you can add.
Okay, all right, very good, thank you. We'll do it.
And I also want to say that was the question that was sent to me. And not do you want the same, but name two people to represent your district. That was the question that was sent to me.
But
I understand,
I can't identify, the two that I think live in District 1, I don't think I nominated but one of them.
Oh, did you turn yours in?
So I didn't mess with
Yeah.
anything.
Oh, okay, but you had that prerogative, because they ask us each year.
But
to-
which is the other one that's in District 1? Because if you think one is in, the one that I
Ricky.
believe is in District 1, and you nominate him from 4, then we need to add another person from 4. You follow what I'm saying?
Oh, I need to add, so I gotta change, I would like.
We need
for-
to know.
I would like for that one to stay, he's very active, because they take roll down there, and they send out letters, they
I'm
meet
just
a
saying,
schedule, yeah.
to add to the
you.
information that goes out so we can be clear, because
And
somebody,
we need to be clear.
there may be some district that's not represented.
I got you. Yeah, but that's a good point about the redistricting. It did impact who's on
Right.
there.
Mr. Cantrell?
You know, Mr. Bart Steed was on the board for 15 years as a SPLOST member, as that. He lived in Green Island. I don't live in Green Island, but it's never been told to me that they had to be in that district to have two strong candidates who is really involved in the community. So Bart was on it for a long time, and he was a great board member, East SPLOST board member. And, but all of a sudden, nobody's ever told me that it had to be from the district. Find a good candidate that you feel would represent the SPLOST committee real well. And Dr. Joe Coley is my district, but Bart was not. And really, I didn't even ask Miss Gloria what district she lived in. And so I'm just letting you know, I did not know that. And it hasn't been that way for as long as I've been on the board, as far as somebody pushing that.
It was supposed to be from our district, and
Never been told to
and
me
you're
that.
right, Mr. Steve was in 2. So that's why we need to know what district.
But I'm just saying, I didn't know that, and I've been on the board a long time, and it's never been different right there.
And you don't know your nominee, that you don't know which district
I didn't
they're
ask
in?
that question. I was just finding good people to serve on the board that I thought would be good serves and take it. And I know Bart and Joe were excellent. They really were very good board members and very supportive of going to the board meeting. But it was never told to me that I needed to pick a district, just a good person for it.
Yeah,
And
it
so I'm
has
just
to
letting you know,
be.
it could be a lot of them out there in different districts, because Bart did it for 15 years and he lived in District 2.
Yeah, we have to pick them from our
Okay.
district.
Well, nobody said that. I won't put that,
No
and I don't
problem.
want, I'm gonna be open about it too, that,
Yeah.
we had that.
We appreciate that, and so that's been very helpful and good discussion. So if you would send it back out so that.
So
we can-
Ms. Gloria, I nominate her, would she still be on it,
We
or?
gotta see who these
She's probably not
districts
my
are,
district.
because-
I don't really know where
But
she does.
wherever she lives, it may be a vacancy, and if that board member wants to nominate her, you know.
So,
what I'm
but what if there's not?
Let's deal with what is, and then.
Okay, sir. Okay.
So
Okay.
you may have a space in your district, but then Ms. Tillery would need to replace for District 2.
Okay, we probably need to fine tune it a little bit.
Yes, sir.
Is that all on this question? On the next one is the construction status report. The construction status report is attached. There will be a slideshow of current projects presented in the November meeting. Any questions, ladies? If not, that's all for the construction committee. Madam Chair?
Thank you, Dr. Chambers, Finance Committee.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Under Finance Committee, the first item is a proposed employee stipend. This came about after a discussion brought up by Representative Lori McCray. And so I know there will be some discussion on this item, so if you will bear with me, I will read off the proposed employee stipend. It says the Board of Education has proposed a stipend be paid from the fund balance reserve of the general fund to the following Muscogee County School District employees who will receive the stipend. Number one, monthly paid employees actively working as of on November the 1st, 2025. Number two, semi-monthly paid employees actively working on November the 9th, 2025. Who is excluded from the stipend? Board members, community coaches, employees who are on leave without pay. Employees must have worked for at least 5 days during the current fiscal year. Certain part-time employees that are not regularly working are excluded. Outsourced workers, for example, ESS substitute, ABM custodians, those individuals are also excluded, as well as the Columbus Public Library and non-district Columbus Museum employees, okay? When will the employees be paid? Monthly paid employees will be paid on November the 30th, 2025. Semi-monthly paid employees will be paid December the 15th, 2025. How much will they be paid? Teachers benefit eligible will receive $2,000. If they are non-benefit eligible, it's $1,000, and maybe someone can explain that once I finish. Number two, all other employees that are benefit eligible will receive $1,000, or if they're non-benefit eligible, they will receive $500. Benefit eligible will be paid in the amount determined by the board. Non-benefit eligible will receive 1/2 of the final approved amount. The supplement will be subject to taxes, of course. In addition, the state has provided funds to pay an additional $1,000 supplement to the school-based custodians and building mechanics, general maintenance workers. This supplement will be paid at the same time. What is the budgetary impact? Funding for the retention stipend will come from the fund balance reserve of the general fund, and we'll ask for our CFO to let us know what the budgetary impact of that will be. And the superintendent is recommending that we propose this one-time retention stipend for employees to be paid with final allocation after official action by the Board of Education. So this is a proposed stipend for this year that will be paid out in November. And so it's up for discussion for the board. And so if there are any comments or if you'd like to give us some background. Okay, no, Lori?
Okay, the stipend was very much the administration's idea. The part that I had been a proponent for is for an extra amount to go to our teachers, meaning the ones that are day-to-day in the classroom with students, because I do feel strongly that they are the backbone of our school district. We can't, I mean, if we could give 2,000 to everybody, that would, well, I shouldn't say it that way. I do want the teachers to feel extra special love for what they are putting in for day in and day out. Some of that concern came from the fact that our last round of raises was 3%. 3% to some of our beginning teachers is not a whole lot of money on top of their salary. I mean, especially spread out over 12 years. So I was looking for something to make them feel a little more impact, again, for the ones that do have the biggest chance to kind of move the needle for a student. I mean, again, everyone is important. That's why everyone would get the $1,000. The additional money for that category is kind of in line with just wanting to just lift them up for all that they're doing day in and day out. And because we have a lot of shortages in that area, and so it was what we felt fiscally comfortable doing right now versus some kind of raise.
I do want to say to the board members that if you've looked through your finance items, there is an item requesting for funding for a compensation study. That compensation study will then allow human resources to work with a company to see, are our teachers being paid a competitive wage, or our workers, period, for Muscogee County, everyone, if they've been being paid a competitive wage. Particularly, I agree with you, Lori, that teachers, there is a teacher shortage nationwide, and I think we do have to address that in some way. Money is not the only way you can address it, but I think that is a good start. And so that compensation study is coming further down the Finance Committee report, okay?
All right,
Yes.
Can someone explain benefit and non-benefit?
Yes. And the amount that it's going to cost. Mm-hmm.
Instead of saying part-time and full-time, which is what people would typically understand that to be, it is more technically correct to say benefit eligible and non-benefit eligible, because we have some individuals that may not work 40 hours a week, but are benefit eligible and would be considered for this. So it is the ones that, like I said, are getting the benefits, and that's basically our full-time people.
And can you tell us
Crossing
the
guards
cost?
are part-time. They are non-benefit eligible. Teachers. Bus drivers are benefit. Certain bus drivers are benefit eligible. Some of and that's correct. There are some teachers that are benefit eligible and some that are not. Typically, our 49% are not benefit eligible. Our full-time teachers are.
You want to turn her mic
on? Do they get any kind of benefit?
They would get half
the same as last time then?
Yes.
That throws you off with the benefit,
Yeah,
so they get something.
Yeah,
They
if it's
get
they're
some
considered a
benefit.
teacher, they would get the $1,000, and then the others would get $500.
Yeah, I saw that 500, I figured. One, and I want to make a comment while I got here. I just want to say that all the board members around here wish that we could give teachers That's not unique to anybody. We all want to give teachers a raise, you know. But what we do is that we consider the budget, our financial circumstances at this time. And like Ms. Chambers was talking about the compensation package, I was talking to Dr. Lewis when he also said that, I think Lori said something about the 3% for beginning teachers. Dr. Lewis says later on we'll be considering veteran teachers who have been here for a while, and their salary, as I talked to another teacher, they were saying that a lot of the beginning teachers sometimes make as very close to their salary, and they've been here for a while. So I'd just like to say the board considers, we try to be fair and consider various ways and avenues to compensate our teachers.
And to your point, that's the whole point of the compensation study, is to look both internally and externally to compare salaries, and so, because not all teachers are the same. They may need, in order to be competitive in the marketplace, it might require that mid-career teachers or more experienced teachers have a bit more, depending on what the salary study shares with us. So that's the whole idea, is to look at across the state, and then internally making sure that our job-alike positions are also compensated accordingly.
Absolutely. And I just want to say kudos to Dr. Lewis and to the HR department for saying, we want to do this, but we hear the board, but we want to do it the right way. And so that compensation study is a step in the right direction, but we do want to make sure that, you know, it manifests. Okay. All right. Any other question? Oh,
yeah, I do want to
Madam
add
Chair.
something.
Yes.
The compensation study is critically important, that it's looking at all of our employees, because we are asking people to do more with less. And the shortage in a lot of different categories of employees. We talk all the time about the teacher shortage and the bus driver shortage, and we're outsourcing custodial work. And we have 1 or 2 contracts for substitute or temporary employees in our nutrition department. And so everyone is valued. Yes. Everyone contributes to educating the whole child. And as you say, but it's, and I'm saying all of this to say, because Ms. McCrae lifted it up, that everybody is important, everybody is valued. I just wanted to reiterate that. And dealing with the challenges, they may not be teachers in the classroom, but those parapros who are called upon to handle the students who are appearing into the public school system, because this is public school. The great equalizer, that we do not yet have any kind of assessment to appropriately educate that child and appropriately support the staff and the teachers at the schools who are dealing with this. I call it a phenomenon. It's important, and with the cost of healthcare increasing, so our employees who are on the least paid end of the schedule, it's important that we also include them in the stipend. And so for that part, you know, I'm happy about in the compensation study, and we need to be prepared when it reveals where we stand in the marketplace for all of those categories. And hopefully it will look at the different factors that differentiate Muscogee County, our stipends, and, you know, the benefits that we pay. Hopefully, because that is important for us to even conceptualize where we are, right, to know what differentiates us in our benefits packets. And so we're looking forward to that, and pay attention to the ask board members on this agenda item that's coming up.
Yeah, 2 things.
Dr. Lewis.
First is just that whole idea that, again, everyone is very valued. It takes the whole team. Everything from bus drivers to get them here, culinary to feed them, custodians to clean up after all the adults and all the kids. But so I think we all
And the
recognize
clerks
that.
to keep,
Yep. And
keep order.
all of that. But it's also important to be fiscally responsible and looking forward, because rising healthcare costs, the fact we don't know what the governor's budget is going to look like just yet, we'll know better in January. But also the idea is to get this compensation done thoroughly, but also within a timely manner, so we can consider moving forward with some of the implications from the compensation study in the next budget cycle to the extent that we can. So that's why it's, again, being fiscally responsible and prudent to take this step and see where we are, and then measure where we are and what we can do, and us in accordance with all of the other factors we have to consider, like healthcare, because again, that is a benefit, but it's one that, to Ms. McRae's point, we've got to look and see, because the rising costs, both in the public and private sector, are all going up. So they're going to have to be commensurate with one another in terms of what we have to. Yeah, and it's just very much an unknown right now.
Absolutely.
Not to mention all the other economic factors, tariffs that go into a lot of our building materials, things like that. So,
absolutely. Yeah. All right. So thank you guys once again for all you do. And to the employees, I hope that you hear the heart of the board is that we want to make sure that you understand that everyone is valued, but we also want to make sure that we are providing a salary that is competitive in the market. And so I can't, I'm hoping that board members will approve it, but we haven't gotten there yet. So if I hear no more questions.
One more thing, I'll just say.
One more thing,
The nice
Dr.
thing about
Lewis.
this is you can even give a 6% raise in some jobs. If it's spread across 12 months, it may not feel as much. The nice thing about this stipend is they'll get something before the holidays that will really feel like they receive something significant. So that's our intent and hope.
Yep. Yes, I'm sure they will be appreciative. All right, number 2, board members, this is just our financial statements that we receive each month. This is for the month of August. Number 1 are the financial statements. Number 2 is a copy of all of our investments. Number 3 is the East Boss revenue, and number 4 is the capital project expenditure report. Any questions about those? Okay, hearing none. Number 3 is, those are our budget adjustments. A is residential treatment centers. This is just truly a change in the budget by $797. We approved the one item and one amount on the budget, but now we're adjusting it now that we have the allocation. Okay? So all of these are small amounts. B is IDEA 619, and that is attached. C is for our preschool disability services, and that budget adjustment is attached. That's actually $17,000 less than what we had budgeted. D is McKinney-Vento, and it is attached. Okay. Madam Chair, you have a question about D?
The one before that.
The
and
preschool.
So if the savings came from teachers, from personnel, did we not need them? What was the
We received
reduction?
less money.
What does anyone know why there was a reduction with the teachers? Hello? Okay.
Our CFO has her.
It was a reduction in the amount that the state gave us.
Right.
So we had to adjust accordingly.
So that cost jobs?
No.
It's
Okay.
17,000.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, they don't make a lot. That's why I was wondering if that was a minus a person.
No.
Okay, so that was just a reduction in what they paid, they sent to us across all of their.
From the state calculation, it was a reduction in.
Across the population. Yes, okay, thank you.
So the budget was adjusted accordingly.
Okay. I'll move on to E, which is the Title 3A grant. And that is a budget adjustment as well of $15,551. F is the pre-K blended Head Start. And there's no change in the revenue, but there's some reallocation to the budgeted items, and that is attached. G is the state custodial grant. And again, there was a reduction by $13,000. We just received $13,000 less than what we budgeted for. Yes, Ms. McCray.
Okay. Because I know this came up earlier with the stipend. So this is similar, right? But it's something going to the custodians?
The last paragraph in the, what we mentioned in the stipend is this right here.
Okay, so just to make sure I'm clear, the custodians will get the 1,000 we were given, and then they'll get the 1,000 from the state.
From
Okay.
the state.
Yes.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Yes. And H is the math and science grant. Those are all the budget adjustments. May I ask if we have done any calculations for the cost of the proposed employee stipend?
It will be just under $8 million.
Just under 8 million? Okay, and you're gonna bring us that number before we vote next week?
Well, I mean, it's gonna be, do you need to have an exact number? Because it's gonna vary, I mean.
Where it
it's not gonna-
says budgetary
need some
impact, if
type
you would
of-
add that.
Yeah, we need some type of monetary impact
Okay. It will
to be
$8
attached to
million.
that item so that board members are aware of how much money we're taking out of the fund balance.
And it
Yeah.
needs to be in the record.
Yeah, yeah,
And it needs to be in
right.
the record.
It needs to be,
In the record.
In the
we need it
record.
recorded.
okay,
Yeah.
all right.
So that
yes.
the
So I
public
will
knows.
include that on there when.
Okay. Perfect, sounds good. All right, those were all the budget adjustments. Number 4, new budgets. We have one, it is a commercial warehouse grant, and it is attached. This is for school nutrition, $37,280. This grant will assist with covering the cost of activities associated with handling the USDA food. If there are no questions, I'll go on to number 5, which is the purchase order increases. There is only one attached. This is a purchase order increase for GSBA for $3,000. Okay, hearing no questions, I'll go on to number 6, which is the competitively bid purchases. One is Barracuda Energize update, and that is attached. There were 20 vendors that were emailed, and we received a proposal from 6 of them. And the funding for this purchase is $38,016, will be expended from the Central Support Services function of the general fund, okay? So this is, okay, and B is the maintenance service that we are not going to vote on at this time. It's being withdrawn. Is that correct, Dr. Lewis? 6B, maintenance service, school nutrition. Okay, we'll bring that one back to you, board members, at a later time. Right now, we'll move on to number 7. These are purchase exceptions A and B. A is for the Procore construction software, and it is attached. B is for reservation system for the public library, and C is for the library as well. D is for Navigate 360 intervention practices. Ms. McCray, did you have a question about that one? Okay.
I'd like to better understand what that is.
This is a purchase not to exceed $170,000, and this is Ms. Anoff?
Yes.
Yes.
It's for the PBIS. It helps the schools collect data for positive behavior interventions and supports, and it's district-wide.
So have we used it before?
Yes, ma'am. It was on a grant prior to this, and there's no grant funds for it now.
Okay. Any further questions? Okay, hearing none. E is for BFW Publishers Books, and those are attached for U.S. Governments and politics. F is for healthcare textbooks, and G is for marketing textbooks. Okay, all right. Number 8 is purchase exception D. This is just a renewal for Microsoft software and licensing. And number 9 is purchase exception E. These are additional purchases. A is GSBA strategic plan. This funding for this purchase is $8,289.37. But the total is $67,204. Okay, well, someone needs to speak to that if that's not right. It says. So this is just, 8. Do we need to?
3,000 under 5A that says GSBA in the strategic plan.
Right.
How do those?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Under here, we are bringing, this is the total amount that we have brought for GSBA, and that includes all of the various things that GSBA does for us, not only the strategic plan in that $67,000 number. That $67,000 includes the policy review, the assembly.
But that's confusing if you're just talking about the strategic plan for this item, though.
Right.
But it is
we
attached. It is attached, though.
Right, and we have started putting that wording on there when we are bringing back a vendor that we have already brought to you. And so you can get a whole picture of all that we are spending with that vendor. And so that's why where that $67,000, it is not for the strategic plan.
And that was a request from the board. I know I requested it because sometimes we forget that we're spending 10,000 here, 5,000 here, 2,000 here. So I think it's a good thing that she has included the total amount.
Clearer. It needs to.
Yeah.
I think that to not get it confused, I think it needs to remain on the item because we asked for A, but it needs to say, break it down with the total spent with this vendor for all other services is $67,246.
Yeah. It says totaling, but.
It says we have the combined purchases for this vendor.
I just don't want the label to say strategic plan, somebody thinks.
That's how much it was. Right.
It doesn't say combined.
The combined purchases for this vendor.
Yeah, it does, but it is confusing.
It can be confusing.
Yes.
So yeah, it might just need to be a total separate line, so that kind of makes it
Yeah.
a little easier, but, because I do agree, very big on the tracking, the overall to a vendor.
Yes.
And how does the 5A 3,000 relate to this? The 3,000 that was to GSBA?
I think it's a duplicate.
Okay, so,
We had it in 2 different places and it got put there twice.
okay, so the total really is 8,000 for the strategic.
That's a big mistake. So can you explain that once again to the entire board that we are not voting on 2 separate items? That, is it a duplicate, one at 3,000, one at 8,000?
That there are, my understanding is that there was one invoice, the invoice that we're bringing to you, or that we were asking for an additional amount on. It was originally put in as an increase. We moved it to the additional purchases, and it did not get removed
From the increase.
from the increase.
Okay.
And the 8,000 is that there was a $15,000 cost for the strategic plan, of which we spent approximately $7,000 last year, and we had not brought the additional 8,000 this year. because we were originally planning on the entire amount being done last year, but it has ended up carrying over into this year, or there was a split in the way it was paid, and the 8,000 is the remaining of the 15,000 that the original strategic plan was going to cost.
And what else is GSBA doing for us for the strategic plan?
They conducted all of the focus groups that we had. They compiled all that, and then they gave us the templates and things moving forward. So that's very consistent what we've done.
And they do that with a lot of school districts throughout the
Yes.
state, yeah.
It's typically a lot more than that. We're taking it from there, from that process forward.
Right.
Because we're a staff big enough to handle that, but we want to make sure that it was independently done in terms of the stakeholder focus groups, so there wasn't any thought about we were in any way, shape, or form not giving, we weren't having any input on the feedback other than just our own focus group.
Okay.
Microphone, ma'am.
Yeah, it was several days. They were full days.
We participated, yeah.
And then
I would be curious what that breakdown is of that 67,000 outside of insurance. Thank you.
Yes.
You said yeah?
Go ahead,
Okay,
James.
thank you.
Okay. Board members, the CFO said she will get us that information, a breakdown of the $67,246.37 that we're spending with GSBA. And of course, that does not include what we pay them for our insurance coverage. Okay. Any other questions about that item? Okay. All right, hearing none, we'll go to 9B, which is, this is a subscription for $30,000. And the information is attached. Again, they have included the total that we've spent with this particular vendor. And this is a not to exceed $30,000. Any questions about that one, board members? Okay, hearing none, we'll go on to C, which is kitchen equipment repair services. And this is a not to exceed $40,000. And then D is also a funding for this purchase is not to exceed $200,000. And this one is for HVAC systems. Okay. Hearing no questions, I'll go on to number 10, which is purchase exception F, invitation to bid. And A, there's one item. This is Northside High Furniture, $17,133.06. And it is attached. And number 11 is professional services. A is for the charter bus service purchase. Yes, Ms. Buckner, did you have a question?
Yeah, the Department of Federal seeks approval of increased threshold.
Which item number?
It's the one with the chartered buses. We're purchasing chartered buses for, what do we need those for? I mean, this is just for information.
Let me read you the impact and the rationale. The Department of Federal Programs seeks approval of the increased threshold request for the below frequently used vendor for federal programs using federal funds. Professional service purchases will enhance instruction, improve student achievement, and support school improvement efforts.
Okay, and then also it also says it's an increase, but now, what do we use it, it's to enhance instruction, improve student achievement. I don't quite know what that is.
Dr. Smith is the person that could answer that.
What are we talking about, Tim?
So it's any school trips where students are going different places that are outside of the hours that transportation can provide that service. So we've seen more of an increase of that in the last 4 or 5 years where we've had to move to charter buses for a lot of those longer activities away from the school.
Okay.
So this is an increase, not to exceed 80,000, but the total for the 2026 year is 280,000. Okay, exception G, Part B is the state identified school support, and this is not to exceed 20,000. And this has to do with our, state identified gifted program. Any questions about that? Okay, and C is a site coordinator selected schools. And this is funding for this purchase totaling $62,360 will be expended from student support function of the state, federal, and other programs. Communities in school, it is attached. Okay, D is also professional services, and it has to do with a Corin Press teacher support at Shaw High School. And this is for $25,750. E is for the Works program. Yes, Ms. McCray, did you have a question about the Works?
Oh, well, I have questions about the program, if somebody can help me with. The way I read it, a child can get in trouble, the same kind of trouble, same thing, and then one would get ISS if his or her parent could not come to a workshop at night. And the other one would not get it if their parent could come to a workshop at night. I don't really see how that's a good idea and how that's fair to our students, because if one lacks the parental support to come to a workshop, they're probably the one that needs more help. So I'd like somebody to better explain to me the rationale behind this, if we've been doing this before. And then I had some finance questions as well related to it.
Dr. Smith.
So the last few years, there's been some different approaches at different schools depending on what the school chooses to do with Dr. Flowers' team. But when you're talking about the parent involvement piece, what's used quite a bit is in place of out-of-school suspension rather than in-school suspension, to where that if a parent comes and participates in a session, then they can reduce that time and really just earn time back in the classroom with that. So, and I agree with you. That could be problematic for students whose parents don't participate, but it's also a method of encouraging parental participation.
So now we're also doing it for ISS. This one said ISS in school.
We'd have to get from each school how they're approaching it with that, because it's not as standardized for every school. They work with him on what they feel works best at their campus. So we can compile from the schools to participate in how they're implementing those services at each site, if you'd like that.
We probably should. We probably should have to get an explanation, but it seemed like I remember from a presentation. But I think the key phrase here is that these schools are determining what best fits their specific needs. But if I remember from Dr. Gilmore, it was in lieu of out-of-school suspension that they highlighted on their presentation, that the parents also participated in a session which they felt was part of why they didn't have the repeat behavior, because the parents had to participate. Yeah, well, they had to have an incentive to participate in the disciplinary process. So, if they don't want to have to come and get off their jobs and come to the parent sessions, that they would participate with the student's behavior. But if it's replacing in-school suspension, somebody should be here to say exactly what that looks like.
we'll check on that and come back with
And if
information.
we've really made sure that's, I don't know, that really doesn't
If
sit-
this is
it does
even
not sit
correct.
well, yeah.
If this is even correct.
But it does say ISS. And then my other question was, money-wise, there's two different contracts, one for Carver and for one of the middle schools. And they say 4 sessions per week, but I thought it said that the rest of the money is based on 4 sessions a week, but the write-up said 2 sessions a week. So I'm trying to understand why that is.
Are you saying that it was one school said 4 and one school said 2?
No, they both say 4, meaning that each school is going to have 4 sessions a week. And then the money's based on that. But I felt like the write-up said that sessions were going to be offered 2 nights a week. 4 nights a week seems like a lot. I mean, do we have that many? And are the parents coming to one session, or are they coming to multiple? I think.
It depends on the infraction, from my understanding, but we'll follow with the
But I mean,
schools.
and that would be my other question. Does the demand dictate needing to pay for 2 sessions a week? Or are we just saying we're going to do 2, and if we have parents that need to come that week, they'll come?
Yes, how he has historically done it is they plan for that, and then if they're needed, they offer them, and if they're not needed, then they don't hold them. So.
And then we don't pay for them?
Correct.
Okay. 'Cause
Correct. We only
the
pay.
contract says like we are paying this money kind of for 4.
But we're only paying per session that's provided. And that's always been the case when we work with Dr. Flowers.
Well, I would
So-
look at this 4 sessions per week, because I don't see why we would need to even, and the money is based on 4 sessions a week. And
But now,
then,
that's how we do all our budgets. We budget a certain way. We budget for the teachers for vacancies. We put that in the
I
budget.
understand that.
So that's just in the budget. If they don't need it, then we don't pay it.
They don't invoice it.
I know, but I'm just saying, it says 2 sessions a week. Again, if the money's based on 4, it
The
would
same
look
thing
good if
about-
we
it
were
talks
saying
about
less
how many
money.
teachers we need
But
and we budget for.
I would like to know a lot more about other districts that are using, and if any way this has been vetted, this idea that, especially in ISS, which is going to be a much more frequently happened thing. It really concerns me that, children that do not have parental support are going to be treated differently than ones that do,
We'll get clarification.
very strongly.
Actually, I have the same concern there as Ms. McRae. So to that end, I'd like to know, I know our purpose you stated is to actually recoup the lost time that kids will be in school. And your second purpose was it was a way to encourage parental involvement. So what we need to know is that working? Do parents, in fact, especially parents of kids who typically are absent and who typically are not as involved as other parents? So we need to know if these parents are coming. We need to know if, because that means that we need to know if it's working. So, and if we get that information, if we have somebody that say that sure it's coming, we need some information, some data indicating that it is in fact working. Because my concern is like hers. We need to see that is good, and that inter-school suspension. I don't know why we have that, but.
So it sounds like we just need an update to the presentation that we've had, but the region chiefs are out there shaking their heads that it is effective and it works, and the parents are coming, without any problems, and I'm sure the schools are adjusting it. If their parents need night because they work during the day, they have it in the evening. Or Saturday or whatever is working for the parents, so that they will have an opportunity to support their students. But the in-school suspension, we just need somebody to explain that.
More clarification. So maybe for next month, can we have someone do a
Next week.
next week?
'Cause it's
Would
gonna be
that
on the
work for you,
agenda.
Dr. Smith?
We'll bring an update back next week.
Okay, Ms. McRae has some additional.
Even if it's effective as it is, I would like to know, kind of from a legal perspective, in other districts, if people are doing this. Because it rattles me that there could be this much difference. Again, have the child come to something special. I mean, anything that child can help do themselves. But as a parent who would be right there for my child, I don't care. I don't think it would be fair for my child to get less of a punishment than somebody else whose mama couldn't come at night. It's just my thought.
Okay, board members, Dr. Smith, you're going to bring us some additional information next week in reference to the works program, the in-school suspension, and how effective it is for parents to have to participate. Okay, any other questions, board members? Okay, hearing none, I'll go on to 11F, which is healthcare nursing services. The Department of Program for Exceptional Students are seeking to approve to increase the original board-approved amounts to Avena Healthcare by $692,335. The revised total for the fiscal year 2026 will be $877,192. This increase is necessary to continue providing essential one-on-one nursing services to students with disabilities. These services are critical to ensure the health, safety, and educational access of students who require individualized medical support during the school day. I hope y'all heard that. Got a lot of talking. Okay. Hearing no questions, I'll go on to 11G, which is Evergreen Solution Compensation Study. This is what we alluded to earlier, that the Human Resource Department would solicit Evergreen Solution LLC. The total cost is $78,500, but what they're asking for right now is $36,500 for the compensation market study as the initial stage of a full comprehensive compensation study where the remaining balance of the total cost of $78,500. So, all right. Hearing no questions about that, I'll go on to number 12, which is sole source and vital purchases. Number letter A is billboard advertising, and that is attached. B is fuel purchases. We have that almost every month. C is the white fleet vehicles. Any questions about that one, board members? Okay, hearing none. D is also white fleet vehicles as well. Okay, and 13 are our donations, and we want to take the opportunity to thank the public for knowing that schools can't do it alone, and thank you so much for your donations. All of those are attached. Okay, Madam Chair, I think that concludes the finance section. I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you so very much. And as it was pointed out earlier, we do not have an executive session this evening. And Dr. Lewis, do you want to update us on anything?
Just, of course, this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, the reason many of us are wearing pink, and we'll be again next week. And it's also, we'll be coming up at the end of the month with Red Ribbon Week, working to combat illicit drug use, and especially looking at putting a special emphasis on fentanyl use and its scourge that it presents for young people, our entire community, but specifically our young people. So just want to bring that to everyone's attention.
Thank you so very much. Ms. Buckner,
I want to just clarify a position that I have, and that I made a few minutes ago about if the practices that schools use. So I do want to say I do agree with Ms. McRae about this, about the discriminatory aspect of that, but I also don't want it to be thought of that we didn't trust the discretions of the school, because schools now, with the nature of students and the nature of the times and the environments, schools are pretty much kind of desperate to try this and to try that. So that's why I believe that for me, it's important to see if it works, because I do maintain the position that it tends to discriminate against people who already are in
High
desperate
risk.
situations. But it's important for it to work, and we're not saying that we don't trust the various schools, but I just want to make sure it works before.
Anyone else? All right. This meeting is adjourned. We'll wave good night. Good night. Thank you all.